Imagine a place where laughter once echoed, where children ran barefoot through dusty streets, and where neighbors leaned across fences to share stories at dusk. A place where dreams were built, only to be swallowed by silence. These are America's forgotten small towns, places that once thrived and then, almost overnight, vanished from the map. Some fell when the mines dried up, others collapsed when the railroad tracks bent in new directions. A few were swept away by fire, flood, or storm, and many simply couldn't keep up with the relentless march of progress. Behind every broken window and empty street is a human story, of fathers who worked until their backs broke, of mothers who built homes with love, and of children who believed their town would last forever. These places weren't just dots on a map. They were living, breathing communities. Today, we'll begin uncovering 10 of these lost towns, the first step in our journey through 100 forgotten places that once defined America. Number 1. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Imagine waking up in a quiet mining town in the heart of Pennsylvania. Families bustled along narrow streets, church bells rang on Sundays, and coal dust seemed to cling to every coat and boot. Centralia was built on anthracite coal, the black gold of the region. For decades, the town thrived. Miners dug deep, businesses bloomed, and children played in yards warmed by coal stoves in winter. But in 1962, an underground mine fire was accidentally ignited. At first, no one realized its danger, a bit of smoke rising here and there, but the fire spread relentlessly, weaving beneath homes and schools. Streets cracked open, releasing toxic steam. Families fled one by one, taking memories and heartbreak with them. Today, Centralia is almost entirely gone. A handful of stubborn residents remain, living among empty streets overtaken by weeds. The fire still burns underground, expected to rage for centuries. Centralia became a haunting reminder of how fragile human towns can be when nature, or fire, decides otherwise. Number 2. Bodie, California. High in the Sierra Nevada mountains, Bodie once roared with life. Founded during the California Gold Rush, it was the Wild West in its purest form. By the late 1800s, Bodie had saloons on nearly every corner, gamblers' halls filled with smoke, and gunfights that broke out under neon-lit signs. Imagine walking through dirt streets where fortune-seekers dreamed of striking gold, where children played in makeshift schoolyards while their fathers gambled away fortunes. But gold is fickle. By the early 1900s, the mines dried up. Families packed wagons and left overnight, chasing the next glittering promise. Fires ripped through what was left, burning wooden homes and shops into charred frames. Today, Bodie is preserved as a ghost town in arrested decay. Empty buildings still stand with dishes left on tables, school books resting on desks, and a sense that the townspeople just stepped out and never returned. Walking its streets feels like stepping into a time capsule of the American dream and its inevitable collapse. Number 3. Cairo, Illinois. Once called the gateway to the South, Cairo stood proudly at the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. In the 19th century, it thrived as a bustling port city. Paddle boats docked daily, merchants shouted in crowded markets, and the aroma of fresh bread mixed with river mist. Cairo symbolized opportunity, where goods, culture, and people flowed endlessly. But progress can also destroy. Railroads and highways replaced the need for river trade. Economic decline sank its once vibrant downtown. To make matters worse, deep racial tensions exploded in the 1960s, leading to violence, boycotts, and mass flight. Families left in waves, abandoning homes, schools, and once busy storefronts. Today, Cairo feels like a hollow echo of its former self. Its grand architecture, once signs of wealth, now stand boarded up, their windows staring blankly like eyes that have seen too much. Cairo reminds us that prosperity without unity can vanish overnight. Number 4. Thurmond, West Virginia. Tucked along the New River Gorge, Thurmond was once the beating heart of Appalachian coal country. In the early 1900s, the town was alive with the sound of trains screeching on tracks, coal barges rumbling, and workers crowding saloons and hotels after long shifts underground. Its depot buzzed with passengers, its streets alive with the rhythm of industry. But then, diesel engines replaced coal-fired locomotives. The railroad, Thurmond's lifeblood, no longer needed to stop. Slowly, the town's pulse faded. Businesses shuttered, families left, and silence fell over the valley. Today, Thurmond is almost a ghost, its population counted on one hand. But its red brick depot and weathered houses still stand frozen in time as the forest slowly reclaims what man once claimed. Walking its streets feels like hearing whispers of laughter, of train whistles long gone, and of a community swallowed by progress. Number 5. Glen Rio, Texas, New Mexico. Straddling the Texas-New Mexico border, Glen Rio thrived thanks to Route 66, America's Mother Road. Picture neon-lit motels glowing against desert skies, diners buzzing with truckers and families, and gas stations pumping life into the open highway. For decades, Glen Rio was a pit stop where strangers became neighbors, if only for a night. But then came the interstate. When I-40 bypassed Glen Rio in the 1970s, the flow of travelers evaporated overnight. Businesses shuttered, motels emptied, and laughter faded from the diners. What was once a busy oasis became a desert of silence. Today, Glen Rio's abandoned motels and crumbling gas stations stand as eerie monuments to America's love affair with the road. If you close your eyes there, you can almost hear the jukebox playing, the clink of a soda bottle, and the hum of tires that never came back. Number 6. Kennecott, Alaska. Deep in the rugged Alaskan wilderness, Kennecott stood like a miracle of ambition. Built around a massive copper mine in the early 1900s, the town thrived despite its isolation. Imagine the sound of machinery echoing across snowy peaks, miners trudging to work in the frozen dawn, and families carving out lives in a place where winter never really let go. Copper was gold in another form. It powered America's growing industries, and Kennecott supplied it in abundance. For 3 decades, trains carried ore, and the town buzzed with activity. But by 1938, the copper ran out. And just like that, Kennecott died. Residents left so quickly that many houses were abandoned with furniture, tools, and personal belongings still inside. Today, it looks as though life was paused mid-step, kitchens with dishes left on shelves, mining equipment frozen in time. Kennecott reminds us of the fragility of towns built on a single resource and the haunting beauty of what's left behind. Number 7. Rhyolite, Nevada. Born out of the desert during the gold rush of 1904, Rhyolite promised everything: wealth, excitement, and opportunity. Banks, schools, even an opera house rose from the dust. Imagine the glitter of electric lights in a town that boasted modern luxuries unheard of in the desert. For a moment, Rhyolite was the jewel of Nevada. But fortunes can vanish faster than they appear. Within 2 decades, the gold dried up, investors fled, and businesses shuttered. Families abandoned homes, leaving behind walls that soon crumbled under the desert sun. Today, only eerie ruins remain, the skeleton of a once grand bank, empty shells of houses, and the haunting silence of the desert wind. Rhyolite is a symbol of hope's rise and fall, a reminder that the American dream could vanish as quickly as it appeared. Number 8. Dawson, New Mexico. Dawson was once a coal mining town filled with laughter, families, and promise. Built by the Phelps Dodge Corporation, it had everything: homes, schools, churches, even a movie theater. For decades, Dawson was alive with the sound of children playing and miners working deep underground. But beneath that life was danger. In 1913, a horrific mining explosion killed more than 250 miners, one of the worst disasters in U.S. history. Tragedy struck again in 1923 when another explosion claimed nearly 120 more lives. After that, the town never truly recovered. By the 1950s, the mines closed and Dawson faded away. Today, only a cemetery remains, marked by thousands of white iron crosses stretching across the land. It is both heartbreaking and powerful. A ghost town where silence honors the lives lost and reminds us of the price paid for progress. Number 9. Aurora, Nevada. Aurora was a boom town born of silver dreams in the 1860s. For a brief, shining moment, it had nearly 10,000 residents, dozens of saloons, and bustling streets filled with prospectors. The promise of silver brought life to the barren desert. But greed often carries destruction. Legal disputes over mining claims created chaos, and when the ore veins thinned, so did the population. Families left quickly, leaving buildings to rot in the sun and wind. By the early 20th century, Aurora was little more than ruins. What's left today feels like a mirage: scattered stone foundations, empty landscapes, and the whispers of what was once a town filled with dreams. Aurora teaches us how fragile communities can be when they're built on promises that the earth itself can no longer keep. Number 10. Adrian, Texas. Adrian sat proudly along the famed Route 66, the Mother Road that connected Chicago to Los Angeles. It was the geographic midpoint of the highway, a place where travelers stopped to rest, refuel, and share stories over pie and coffee. Families built livelihoods on the steady stream of cars and trucks rolling through. But when the interstate bypassed Route 66, Adrian, like so many towns along the highway, was left behind. Businesses that once thrived on tourism dried up. Hotels closed, diners stood empty, and the sound of tires on asphalt faded into memory. Though a few residents and businesses still hang on, Adrian feels like a ghost of its former self. It represents the cost of progress, the way entire communities can vanish when roads, the lifelines of towns, are rerouted elsewhere. These 10 towns remind us how quickly life can shift. Some fell to floods, others to fires, and many to the cruel twists of economics. Yet, in every empty building lies the memory of people who worked, prayed, laughed, and lived. Tell me in the comments, if you could walk through one of these ghost towns today, which would it be? Don't forget to subscribe because in Part 2, we'll uncover 10 more forgotten towns, each one with a story worth remembering.